the Fade 5 podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons. Brad Big Noise Evans here, joined by the good sir, Nathaniel Lundy. 'Tis indeed another edition of the Fade 5. We got a doubleheader in the Wildcard weekend as it carries on thanks to Mother Nature there in Buffalo. We're going to hop in on that action here momentarily. We'll cover we got some day games that we can wager on in college basketball. And, of course, the NBA is massive here on an MLK Monday. So let's go ahead and get after it and hop aboard the Honk Honk Plus Bus here on the Fade 5 podcast. Nathaniel Lundy, Brad Evans here in the house, and we got tickets in hand on a wager plus 100 odds or greater. Good sir, what are you digging today?
Brad. I got a first for us.
Oh,
first time
okay.
ever. Now, folks that have been listening to the podcast for a while, and you and I have done like 650 of these episodes, and no, yep. I'm not exaggerating. Nope. This is a first. Brad, on today's Plus Bus, I am firmly sitting on your lap. So you go ahead with your Plus Bus because you and I have the same pick.
Woo! 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 We're doubling down on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm taking them straight up on the money line. Apparently, so is Lundy against the Philadelphia Chickadees, Sparrows. They're not exactly the Eagles right now, not displaying the sharpened talons. They're being played in Western Florida. Plus 125 available there at BetMGM. I'm going to give you my reasoning, and then I'll pass the baton over to Lundy, and he'll give his 2 cents on this. We look at the Bucs. The last 7 weeks of the NFL regular season, respectable number 11 in EPA per play offense, number 14 EPA per play defense. Where is Philadelphia in those rankings? A far cry away. Not offensively, we're the number 12, but defensively, they have really come unraveled, unspooled here down the home stretch. Number 29, really almost the dregs the keg there in the NFL. And EPA per play defense, well defended pass, defending the run. They're not wrapping up any dudes whatsoever. Now, you may go back and say, well, Evans, Lundy, what happened in week 3, bros? That was an eternity ago. I think that was played roughly in 1998. And yes, Philadelphia won and Tampa 25-11 in that game. But these teams have evolved, and you could say Philadelphia has certainly evolved in a very negative way. No A.J. Brown to stretch the field, and I like the weapons that Baker Mayfield has at his disposal. And again, the Buccaneers have somewhat earned their rum defensively here down the stretch. So that's my reason, and to back the Bucs on the money line against Philadelphia plus 125 at BetMGM. Lundy, what's yours?
Well, mine is, look, I've been on the Bucs since the matchup was announced. Mine is actually that one of 2 things is going to happen. I'm either going to stay red hot this weekend or I'm going to come crashing down. And I had Houston, I had Kansas City, I had Green Bay straight up on the money line. Folks, I had the Rams last night, so that was damn close. I also backed it with a bigger bet on the spread, so I covered on that one. So all I'm doing right now is that my Plus Bus has been rather profitable over the course of the last 48-ish hours, and so I'm going to stick with my pick. So I was getting ready for the pod. I'm like, we could kind of same-game parlay this, and I'm like, why? You wanted to take the Bucs on the money line from the very beginning of these matchups last weekend, so stick with it. So I'm sticking with it. So that's the reason why I did not do my own Plus Bus. I saw that it was yours. I'm sticking with my pick. I think the Bucs get the victory at home. I also think this could wind up being much like some of the parties Brad used to go to in college, a tight end fest. Because I like what Cade Otton has been able to become for the Tampa offense. And frankly, Philly's not all that great at stopping the tight end, and neither is Tampa. So I think we may see some of the big boys come off the line and grab some yardage down the field. So look for the tight ends to play a big part in this game as we get some chunk gains, taking little pieces here and there out of those guys. I just love what I think this game script is going to look like. I think the fans in South Florida, one of the only places in the country that is not have temperatures with a minus sign in front of them. I think Tampa's going to love this one. I'm really looking forward to this game.
Do it for all the Captain Morgan and back the Buccaneers. With that bet on the board, let's get after it with another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, numero cinco here on the countdown today. Again, we got a pair of matchups to put a cap on Wildcard Weekend, and let's go to snowy Buffalo. And we've all seen the videos that have been coming out, and a lot of the workers earn their $20 an hour and their free coffee and eggs there at Highmark Stadium, shoveling and digging out in preparation of this game. Here is the good news in Buffalo: the sun, it may come out for a brief moment during the action on the gridiron on Monday. The expectation is they're still going to play this thing. Winds will be a little bit blustery, 14, 18 miles an hour sustained. Not expecting really high gust there. You may have a snow shower too, but it ain't nothing from the videos that we saw yesterday. True whiteout blizzard conditions. And there was a reason why, and it was fully advisable for the governor to do what she did, to call it a full state of emergency, because nobody should have traveled. It was way too risky, whether you live in the greater Buffalo area around Orchard Park or you're traveling up, especially from the great city of Pittsburgh. So with all the meteorological talk out of the way, let's get after it here. Numero cinco on the countdown. I'm going to focus on a bill. And I'm going to go with Josh Allen over 8.5 rush attempts at minus 130, available there at DraftKings Sportsbook. Here's what I know about Josh Allen. In games where there is a ton at stake, he puts his entire body on the line. He has a propensity to run more in those matchups. I think it's going to be more the same here. And look what he did the last 6 games of the regular season. He hit the over at 8.5 rush attempts 4 times. I think it's going to be 10 at a minimum. So if you want to jack this up on the alt line market, especially ESPN Bet, get it at plus money, I certainly would back that. He averaged 6.5 rush attempts per game in the regular season, along with 30.8 rush yards per game. You look at Pittsburgh, too. This is a high-pressure kind of defense. So really try to get after and collapse pockets. Number 11 in the National Football League in the regular season, and pocket pressure rate at 22.9%. Sure, Kyler Murray was the only guy to hit the over on 8.5 rush attempts. That came in week 13. But again, given his playing personality, given that weather will be somewhat of a factor, given the fact, too, that Pittsburgh dials up the heat routinely, I like Josh Allen, again, to run for at least 9, if not 10 times in this game. And yes, kneel downs count. So give me that over, Josh Allen. 8.5 rush attempts, a little heavier juice, but I'm willing to slap the wall at minus 130 at DraftKings. Lundy, fade or follow.
Those of you that want to jump in the Wayback Machine to Friday's episode know that this was, we featured it on the pod, and I actually tossed it out there for you. I said the 8.5, yeah, that's lovely. Take the 10 plus and take it at plus money, in part because of the kneel downs in a game that right now is sitting with a spread at double digits. Those kneel downs do wind up counting. So I'm not going to dive into it a ton, because if you've been listening to the pod or you've been watching us on the YouTube channel, you know that we talked about this one on Friday. This is one of my favorite bets of the day. I think this is sledgehammer worthy. I would totally play it at the 9, but when you can take plus odds for there to be one more carry and for him to get to double digits with the way that he is when the spotlight is on, Josh Allen does not shy away from it, and he'll call his own number as needed. And Brad already talked about that pressure coming that's going to push him out of the pocket and force him to take some of those runs. So put all of that together. Fine. You want to do it at the 8.5? Go for it. As a matter of fact, I did an SGP on this one we'll talk about, but love this one. And I'm telling you, if you want to play it straight up, go right ahead. But I absolutely love the 10 plus number at plus odds.
Lundy called for it.
Number 4.
All right, numero quattro here on the Feed 5 countdown. Let's get some more plus money on the board, shall we? I think Rashad White in the alt line market's going to hit at least 75 rush yards against those not so fly Eagles fly. You can grab this at plus 145. Yeah, let's work the shoulders and get seduced by that juice there at BetMGM. Why is this Bible? Yes, he only had 14 carries to 38 yards in the first matchup in week 3. But again, that was an eternity ago. That's when Philadelphia was still playing at a top 10 level in run defense, and they are the antithesis of that now. Again, since week 12, number 31 in rush EPAD are the Philadelphia Eagles. You look at White, he's gone over 75 or more ground yards in 5 of his last 6 games entering the playoffs. Philadelphia, over their last 5 games, gave up 4.23 yards per carry, 108.2 rush yards per game just to the running back position, and 4 RBs in their last 5 matchups ran for at least 75. So Rashad White, I think, gets it done and blasts between the hash marks and the tackles and gets his way to that 75-yard mark. Could be a 20-carry kind of game, and this correlates, synergizes, and brings it all together with Lundy and I back in the Bucs on the money line. So to recap, Rashad White in the alt-line market, 75 or more rush yards, plus 145 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow.
Ooh, I like this one. This is pretty sexy. This, again, goes back. If we're wrong and Philly comes in and all of a sudden remembers that they were 10-1, yeah, if they all of a sudden remember that they started the season 10-1, then this particular bet is hosed for us because unless they're using him out of the backfield, in which case you can look at the rush plus receiving yards prop on him as opposed to just rushing yards alone. But this is too good for me to turn down. The idea of almost 1.5x on something that just bumps that number up to fit the narrative, to hopefully push the narrative that you and I are trying to sell today. Again, it goes together. If you like one, you like the other, you slap them together. And if we lose, we all lose together.
We're all going down with this ship. Indeed, together.
Number 3.
Numero Trace here on the Fade 5 countdown on this MLK Day. Baker, the touchdown maker. I think Mayfield throws not 1, but 2 passing touchdowns, and what Lundy and I feel is going to be an upset bid by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That occurs plus money, plus 114, and I grabbed this at DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, you go back to the first matchup, played way back in week 3. He only had 1 touchdown pass in that one. Didn't even break 150 yards. Interestingly, through the air. But similarly, the run defense, the Philly pass defense has been woeful here down the stretch. Over their last 7 games, number 29 in pass EPA defense. Yeah, they only allowed 6.98 pass yards per attempt over the entirety of the regular season, but they also gave up 35 passing touchdowns. 10 quarterbacks threw for at least 2 against them this year. Baker Mayfield, numero uno in deep ball pass attempts in the regular season. Though, lowly number 20 in the red zone completion percentage, still he was top 10 in red zone attempts. So he is going to have ample opportunity, I feel, to hit one of his targets squarely between the numbers. The ref's arms go up, and it is a payday for 6. And he has hit the over on 1.5 passing touchdowns in 4 of his last 5 games. All that info, Lundy, Baker, Mayfield, over 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus 114 at DraftKings. Fade or follow?
I'm going to follow in part because I told you I've hit some bets over the weekend that were really pretty. You know what I haven't hit? This is actually true. I have missed on anytime touchdown score in each game. 1, 2, 3, 4. In 4 games. Okay. I have missed in all 4 of the games on an anytime touchdown, somewhat because I was trying to go a little bit obscure. I was trying to find some numbers. However, one guy that I did bet on before the weekend started was Mike Evans. So if I finally get one right, there's one of them right there, Brad.
Yeah.
And yes, I think Baker can find the other one. So give me the over on the 1.5 passing touchdowns. Love the fact this is surprising to me that this is at plus odds. I think they're given, I think the odds makers are giving too much credit to Philly right now based on what we've seen the last 6 weeks.
Given the matchup, given the hot hand, squeeze every last drop of that juice on Baker Mayfield.
Number 2.
Numero dos here on the Fade 5 Countdown, and look at that, more plus money, even Steven plus 100 odds there at BetMGM. Give me the over on Najee Harris, 16.5 rush attempts, and this number is up. It was 15.5 before this game was delayed by 24 hours, but I still play the over on this for the bulky and workhorse Clydesdale back of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last 3 games entering the playoffs, he went 19 rush attempts, 27 and 26. Now, the regular season, the Bills allowed just the 3rd fewest rush attempts per game of the running back position. But the MO of Pittsburgh is run early, run often. They love the ground and pound scheme. That's why they were number 5 in the regular season in rush percent rate. So 47.33% of the time, they were handing the ball off, whether to Najee Harris or his tag team partner there in Jaylen Warren. If the Steelers are truly going to be competitive in this game, if the Steelers are going to cover that plus 10 spread, Najee Harris has got to be a focal point along with Warren there on the ground to alleviate some of that pressure on Mason Rudolph. Again, it's going to be chilly. 10% to low 20s there in Buffalo. Maybe occasional snow shower, but I doubt any accumulating snow during the game. And again, a little bit windy, so you're going to have some blowing and drifting of that snow that has been shoveled by the brave patrons that have attended Highmark Stadium that get their $20 and a terrible cup of black coffee. So to put it all together, Najee Harris, give me the over 16.5 rush attempts. I think it's 20 or more in this game, and I think it will be highly competitive. Plus 100 at BetMGM. Lundy, fair to follow.
Well, first of all, this number started at 14.5. 14.5 was where you could get this when it first opened. So it's already up 2 full attempts. That's the reason why you're locking things in right now at the plus 100. I do think he gets a lot of touches. I did like it a lot better when it was a lower number, to be honest with you. So I wish that this one were down a little bit, but I understand why they have bumped it up. And I think the delay has played into that as well. So even Steven money for him to be at 17. I'm a little bit more nervous now that it's not at the 14.5. I always worry about Jaylen Warren coming in and sneaking some carries, sneaking some opportunities, sneaking some snap share out of the backfield. I like this one. Liked it better at 14.5.
Oh, I'm puckering up, but please, Pittsburgh, just stay in the damn game so we can cash.
Number 1.
Numero uno here on the Fade 5 podcast on this Monday. It's my cousin, Mike Evans, who got all the length, all the athleticism in the Evans family. One of the all-time greats, really, this century, and maybe of all time in NFL history. Just gets 1,000 yards seemingly every single damn season. And yardage is going to be the focus of this prop. Give me the over 66.5 receiving yards for the pride of Gig'em, Texas A&M. Minus 115 available there at BetMGM. This opened a little bit lower. Some shops, it came out at 63.5, so it's climbed to 66.5. I played this up to very nice 69.5. If you want to toy with this in the alt market, certainly would throw my support behind that as well. Going to see a lot of not so big play Darius Slay in coverage, who this season's given up a 63.2% catch rate and just a mediocre 83.2 passer rate into his assignments. Again, Philadelphia number 29 in pass EPA defense since week 12. So certainly a vulnerable and susceptible unit as a collective. And you look at Mike Evans, he had 10 targets in that first game back in week 3, 5 catches. Sure, he fell short of the required number. He had 60 yards in the game with no score. But again, different story the second time around. Mike Evans in the NFL regular season, numero uno in total air yards, numero uno in deep ball targets as well, and hit the over on 66.5 9 times. 9. Make it 10 here as he tacks on in the postseason. My top play of the day. Again, my cousin Mike Evans over 66.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at BetMGM. Lundy, fair to follow.
Do you realize how screwed we are if Tampa comes out and lays an egg?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a whole bunch of negative units lost. I'm going to have to prostitute myself in a local corner, and it's like minus 3 here in Central Illinois to make a dime or two.
Yeah, that's we're really screwed if Baker Mayfield comes out and looks more like he belongs on one of those kids cooking kitchens.
Yeah.
And he's not so much the baker that we want to see. I do think the fact that Tampa's at home is going to play into this one. Philadelphia has completely shit the bed down the stretch of the season, and can they flip a switch? Sure, there's enough talent on there, but no AJ and everything else associated with this game. I just think this leans into Tampa moving on to the divisional round next weekend. So, but you and I better hope that they do not do that, because let's see, we got Baker, we got Evans. I need Evans for a touchdown.
I got Rashad.
We got White. You and I both like him straight up on the money line. Forget the points. So yeah, this could get really ugly. I just want to throw that out there. This could get really, really, really ugly.
Well, let's hope they don't turn it into creamsicles like they did in the late 70s. I'll say that much. So please, Baker Mayfield, bake at the Easy Baker oven and make me some cupcakes, and hopefully he will throw plenty of yardage there to Mike Evans. All right, with those bets in the books, Lundy, let's get after it. It's bonus time. Maybe got more action of the doubleheader on this NFL Wildcard weekend. Maybe got some college basketball. Again, day hoops in the NBA, college basketball, the NHL. Pick your poison, mi amigo. What else you got?
I threw this one together earlier in the weekend, so you're going to have to go check to see what you can get the numbers at, but I went with the same game parlay over at Caesars and did so when it came to rush attempts. So I already told you that I like Josh Allen on the 10+ that you can get at plus odds. Brad was talking to you about the over on the 8.5. I say go ahead and play it to 10, get yourself at plus odds. But I did correlate a couple of the guys together that we have talked about. And I took Najee Harris for 14 or more carries, Josh Allen for 8 or more carries, and did that one when I did it at Caesars earlier this weekend, plus 151 is what that came out to. Now, because of the line movement, because of the delay in terms of the kickoff, moving it all the way until this afternoon, my guess is that number has come down from where I was able to put it together, but I still absolutely love the idea. Go over to Caesars, pack together some rush attempts on these two guys, and I think you're going to be looking at a pretty sexy payday by the time you're done. Let's correlate another one together. This is a pre-built boost that Caesars has for you. Give me Mike Evans to have 40 or more receiving yards and a touchdown. If both of those two things happen, they've got it boosted to a plus 140 right there. So again, it all comes down to whether or not he can splash 6. Brad and I both believe Baker can get a couple of touchdowns through the air. I think at least one of those goes to Mike Evans. So the fact that Caesars has already pre-built this for you and given you a little bit of a boost, again, 40 or more receiving and a touchdown for Mike Evans. Pre-built boost for you, plus 140 over at Caesars. Let me get over to the hockey, and much like the NBA, much like college basketball that I know Brad's going to talk about, there are day games within the NHL schedule. As a matter of fact, there's one that drops the puck here in 22 minutes. So you may not be able to get on this, but if for some reason you can, give me Buffalo on the puck line at home against San Jose. That one at a minus 110 over at DraftKings. Folks, it's the San Jose Sharks. I shouldn't have to tell you anything more than that. This is the one that surprised me coming up a little bit later on this morning. 1 o'clock Eastern time puck drop. So for me, it's in morning. It's at 11 a.m. The Seattle Kraken have won 9 times, 9 in a row. They're going for their 10th. Yes, they are on the road, but they're going against a very schizophrenic Pittsburgh Penguins team. At one moment, Sid the Kid and company look fantastic. Then in another game, Pittsburgh looks like they're going to have a top 6 draft pick. It's weird to me with what Pittsburgh has done. Seattle's got all the confidence right now in the world, and straight on the money line, plus 124 for them to go and win their 10th straight this season, and I think they can do it against Pittsburgh. So give me Seattle straight on the money line at a plus 124. The other team right now that is, despite the fact that they are one of the heavy favorites for the Cup, yes, I do believe that they will get things right eventually. But right now, over the course of the last 6 games, Vegas has only scored 9 goals. In 6 games, they have scored 9 goals, and 5 of those 9 came in one game against the Islanders. So if you throw that one out, they've only scored 4 goals across the other 5 games. Their offense is non-existent right now, and the Nashville Predators are coming to town. So this is another one where I don't mind the idea of taking Nashville straight on the money line. It is a plus 105. So a couple of plus underdogs for you, both of them on the road, and I know that can sometimes make us just a wee bit nervous. But Seattle, I think, picks up their 10th in a row, and they do it in the Steel City. And then, like I said, Vegas right now is lost, especially offensively. They will get right. There's too much talent on that team. But from a betting standpoint, let's ride what is a low point in their tidal wave and wait for them to wake back up again. And let's take advantage of it and take Nashville, like I said, plus 105 on the money line. Plenty of day games going on in hockey, rolling all the way into the evening. But of course, MLK Day belongs to the NBA. I think Brad's got some picks there as well. Is in college hoops. I yield the floor to the gentleman from Illinois.
All right, let's get the Team Huevos parlay play on the board on this SUP. If you're buying when I'm selling, then come with me. Let's go back to the Buccaneers. Give me Tampa on the alt line plus 7.5. Give me Baker Mayfield. I just need one passing touchdown. Again, he achieved that in the first matchup. He's easily done this in several games here down the stretch. And again, Philadelphia's shortcomings defensively in that secondary means likely going to happen on this leg. Give me Mike Evans, 50 or more receiving yards for all the reasons I outlined already on the 66.5 over that applies here at a lower number. And give me Rashad White, not on the ground, but through the air, 3 or more receptions. He does this seemingly every single game. I believe he's done this in like 10 of his last 12. And he did it the first match against Philadelphia as well. Was going up close to 5 catches per game, the running back position. You put that uno, dos, tres, and cuatro, mi amigos, all together. You use a 50% profit boost on that SGP at BetMGM. This is for real, folks. Plus 310. Huevos, he got taste. Let's get it and jostle around those huevos. Ooh. It tickles if this one does indeed hit on that Team Huevos parlay play of the day. Elsewhere in bonus time. Let's take in the NFL. Lundy, I just built this. It's kind of fun. You were talking about the rush attempts on Josh Allen. So at ESPN Bet, they moved the line. I think the standard line now is like 9.5. But you can get 8 or more rush attempts, and you match that with Rashad White, 15 or more rush attempts.
So you jingle jangled the one that I did on Friday.
Yeah, plus 109 at ESPN Bet. So very achievable number there on those two. Again, you can get that at plus money. The other wager, like Josh Allen, touchdown and the Bills to win, already pre-built at BetMGM, that's plus 120. So if Allen runs one in, which he's done in 12 of his last 15 games, and Buffalo gets the win, they're favored by 10. I think they will sneak this one out. A cool plus 120. Like that one quite a bit. And then one last play in that Pittsburgh-Buffalo game. If you don't, like the player prop action, simple little 3-legger, and I'm going to live in the middle on this. Give me Buffalo minus 2.5. Pittsburgh plus 20.5. And the under on the all total of 47.5. Uno, dos, tres, all 3 of those legs, living in the middle, even money, plus 100 built there at BetMGM. College basketball, a lot of day games. I got to focus on that, but there is a game. It's got to tip off at 5 o'clock local time between the Iowa Hawkeyes and Minnesota Golden Gophers in Minneapolis. I'm going to lay the 2.5 on Minnesota. Truth be told, I grabbed this yesterday when the line opened at plus 1.5. We have seen tremendous line movement, and it's understandable. The Golden Gophers should have been favored out of the gate. A team that's playing at a very high level right now. Much slower in terms of pace compared to Iowa. Iowa's number 6 fastest in the country adjusted tempo. Minnesota number 208. But Minnesota number 29 EFG offense, number 45 in EFG defense. Outstanding offensive rebounding team. They're 11-1 at home this year. Inside the barn, Iowa 2-5 in road neutral games, and they're just number 170 on the season. EFG defense, giving up over 50% inside the arc. Darson Garcia and friends, I think, are going to go nuts and burn the nets. So I would still lay the 2.5. It is universally at all the books right now on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. In a game earlier in the day, if you catch this podcast quickly enough, I like the under in Villanova Marquette. That number has creeped up to 144.5. It is a viable opportunity now on that under. Villanova's going to try to slow this down. They're north of number 300 adjusted tempo. They don't turn the ball over. Marquette usually thrives in transition off those turnovers, and I don't think the Wildcats are going to cough it up. The Wildcats can't score effectively either. Number 2 weight EFG offense. Marquette really struggling right now. Number 113 EFG offense on the season. Number 143 EFG defense. They have fallen off tremendously. That's why they have lost 3 of their last 5, but I just don't need a whole lot of points, and I don't think there will be. Give me the under there in Milwaukee, Marquette, Villanova, 144.5. And one NBA play, Zion Williamson, give me the over on 6.5 rebounds against the Mavs, who have allowed the second most opponent rebounds per game. Zion went over once, went under in the other against the Dallas Mavericks this season. Not a guy that, even though, is a wider frame that gets after it on the glass on occasion, but this could be a 10 rebound kind of game for him. So at a standard juice of minus 115, I am a buyer. I'm out of breath. We are out of time here on the Feed 5 podcast. Do us a favor and drop us a rating and a review at your convenience. You can also check us out on the X or the Twitter at Noisy Waves, where you can find me and my free spreadsheet. You can find Lundy and his free spreadsheet picks at Nate Lundy. For the handsome Nathaniel Lundy, I'm Brad Evans. Until next time, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you.